This story started 7 years ago when I was finishing up my degree in 2D animation and I was working on my final project. I was deep in pre-production for it and drawing the character designs, background, storyboards and everything necessary for the film when Inktober came around. I drew a quick sketch from one of the prompts, and for some reason I just wanted to keep exploring that character. And since then I've kept drawing her, and her story is something that I always come back to when I don't know what to draw. This sketch is over 7 years old at this point. I've still not managed to publish my own story, and I would really love to change that this year. What started as a small sketch turned into a story about a girl that has to discover herself in a foreign to her land. That's very close to my heart because since drawing that sketch, I had to go through the same experience. I was 20 years old when I left my home, and despite all the joys and wonderful moments that living abroad as an expat brings, it does bring loneliness and difficulty too. And that is what I wanted to capture with this story. Chances are, if you're watching this, future me has already completed all the work. I've compiled this series of videos on each step of the process, from sketching to outlining, coloring, formatting, and finally publishing the book. I hope you enjoy. Let's get on with it. For this project to finally have some progress, this step was the most important one. I had to go through all my previous attempts at starting this book and compile one final storyboard from which I was going to work from. After recently learning how to use Procreate, I have fallen in love with the software, so my final decision was to do the project there, which meant that I had to sketch out all the panels I had already done, but this time on Procreate. Once that was done, I would have a clearer picture of how many pages there were for the final book. Lastly, I had to compile a book dummy in order to see if the story flowed well and it made sense even without the text. This process took around a month, and to be honest, it was not very exciting. Most of the sketching happened on my couch in my living room with some series in the background or a movie. In some cases, I kept the page like the original idea I had for it, but in many others, I changed the idea completely and rearranged the scenes and changed the composition entirely. So in the end, I am quite glad that I decided to redo all the pages because now the book has a little bit more of a cohesive art style. Once all the sketches were done, I transferred everything to an app called Paper by WeTransfer. I'm not sure if it's available anywhere else other than the iPad, but if you use Procreate, it's a really useful tool to make a mock-up of a book or a sketchbook even, and that way I could see in a quick glance how my book was looking like, if I had to remove or add any panels. Once I was happy with it, I could finally move to the next step. Once the sketches were all done, the even slower process of inking every single panel began. In the next video, I will take you along with me to some of my favorite spots around town as I ink and color all the panels I have already done. If you enjoyed seeing my process and would like to see the next steps of it, please give this video a like or a comment. It would help a tiny channel like mine a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.